Hey everybody, welcome to Woodworking Wisdom. I'm here today with Steph.
Hi guys.
And Steph is about to turn her first bowl. So we've got a lovely bit of spalted sycamore here. And I think I'm right in saying this is your first bowl.
Never done any tanning before.
So the idea of today really is to look at potential problems and things you need to be watchful for when you're starting out wood turning. So we thought it would be a perfect opportunity to get a lovely bit of timber on and make a nice bowl. So this is going to be for you, isn't it?
It is going to be for me, yeah.
Excellent. So we're going to start off right from the very beginning. We've already said that Steph's never turned a bowl before, or that much turning at all, apart from pen, is it?
I haven't even done a pen. So Ben's showed me a few cuts during COVID at home, and that's literally it. So this could go horribly wrong, but let's hope it doesn't.
It's one of those things I always say, don't start with a bowl. Start with nice small pieces of spindle work to start with. We're going to break that anyway and go straight into a bowl. So, right, okay. This is just like any other tutorial, really. Ben's on the camera, so he'll be able to flick through and get the close-up shots that we need. But all we're going to do to start with is just prep, because that's one thing that a lot of people don't think of. They're so keen to get turning that they forget how important work holding on the lathe is. And when you're starting out in turning, there is a lot more potential for big dig-ins and catches whilst you're learning how to present the tools. So I think it's really important to get this first step right. Two things you need to remember: work holding on the lathe and lathe speed, and why we use lathe speed for certain things. So this lathe, Steph, it's got two belt settings, just like gears on a bicycle.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a high speed and a low speed, and they're ratios really. So if you think about cycling, you have your first gear where you pull away, you go uphill, all that sort of thing. So loads and loads of power. But when you get really quick, when the bike's going really fast, if you're in that speed, that gear, your feet are going to be going really quick. Your legs are going to be moving quickly. So you need to go to a high gear. This sort of bowl is in between sizes, really. We're going to keep it in the high gear, so the fast speed, but we're going to turn it relatively slowly to start with. If we were going much bigger in bowl, we go to low gear, where we want lots of power but slow speed. This isn't too bad, this one. The other thing, that's the gear settings. They're inside. We've got them set already. The other thing, of course, is when you first hit the start button with a big piece of timber like that on, make sure you've turned your lathe speed down. It's down to 0 or as slow as it can go, because you can always turn the lathe speed up. What you don't want is any surprises. So you turn the machine on, you stood in front of it, it goes so fast that everything rattles or even comes off the lathe. You don't want to be in the firing line if that happens. So we always want to make sure that we're protecting ourselves, really. We're going to screw the faceplate on first. Okay. So you've got the drill, you've got the screws, and we've already had a chat about this, a brief, and we're going to use the outer layer of holes. So we've got 6 positions there to screw into rather than the 4 in the middle. So Steph's going to put those in all the way, so we're nice and secure. Now, even though we've already checked the lathe speed to make sure it's at 0, it's a habit to get into. Even before we start again, we're just going to check the lathe speed, make sure it's down low, so you constantly check in. And so even without realising, your hand goes straight to the lathe controller, turn your lathe speed down before you hit the start button.
Oh, sorry.
Full speed, let it pick up, that's it.
Don't normally do the drilling at home. Normally the DIY is Ben's job.
Ben the DIY. I thought it was Ben the pen, not Ben the DIY.
Ben the pen at work.
All right, then last one. So you can see those screws there, around about 35 mil, 6 of them, 4.5. So they're a good gauge. Right then. So there's a spindle lock. That one there is your spindle lock. So if you want to lock that spindle up first, it just helps you really with. That's it. And then you can screw the bowl blank on. There we go. Right. Before we do anything else, no, you can take that one out. Take the lock pin out, because we are going to check to make sure there's no spindle lock on. If we don't, then there is potential that we could damage something on the lathe if we go and start the lathe with the spindle lock on. One of our safety checks with the tool rest is making sure that everything's running free. So we are going to do that. The other thing that I'm going to say here is any sort of bowl this sort of size, if you can have a little bit of assistance from the tailstock, that will really help you. So we're going to bring the tailstock up, a little bit more of that quill showing, and then you can pop that on there, a little bit of pressure on. So we've now got a hole point on the faceplate and on the tailstock as well. So it's going to really help with that security when you first start turning. So whatever happens, if it is a big catch or if there's no catches, we know that we're safe and we're all going to be good.
Sounds good to me.
This is a wonderful bit of timber. I think this was got from our local timber yard, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And a load of spalting. This is sycamore, believe it or not, but it's got some incredible spalting in it. So it's a really, really nice piece.
I couldn't resist.
You couldn't resist. And this is
No.
for you, like you say. So
Yeah.
why not? Any loose bits, generally, you'll be able to see quite easily if any of this bark is going to come off. This is fairly good. But if there is anything loose that might hit you, then we'll make sure it's taken off. Right, tool rest now. As close as you can get to that timber without it touching. I say as close as you can get. 3/8 of an inch to the nearest point. And this is a chainsawed piece of timber, so you're going to have to go right the way around and check every section. Just to make sure. And the closest corner really is what you're worried about. Good. That one needs a good press down now, so your main lever. And then make sure this one's done up as well, your locking lever. Nice and tight. Again, now go around and check everything else. All right, and again, one of those habit things is that you're going to go around and check fairly often that everything's nice and tight. We will probably have to tighten a few things up once we've made our first few cuts as well. All right?
Yeah. Also, my tight is probably not as tight as your tight.
Yeah, well, now then. So there's a couple of things here. When we say tight, Bristol locking levers, they're a pinch.
Okay.
But any lever that's big, they're designed for a lot of pressure. So they can be really, you can put all your weight on those and that'll be fine. But Bristol locking levers, there's a small thread on them. Most of the machines going into cast iron don't want to strip those threads, so it's a pinch as opposed to.
So if you
all
do
your
those
weight.
up too tight, then they're going to...
Well, yeah, it would take a lot of force, but the general rule is pinch, not off. Don't put a big 6-foot iron bar on it and try and lever it up. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's something I would do. No, I'm joking.
So let's I'll tell you what, we'll get this speed control box out so everybody can see it. But there's the speed controller. So we've got a green, a red, a forward and reverse switch, and a speed controller. So green for go, red for stop, accelerator and decelerator. And forward and reverse.
But I'm not going to use it in reverse.
You're not going to use it in reverse. We're threading on clockwise.
Yeah.
If we don't do anything like tighten it on to the thread, it will undo. So we're going to stick to...
So just leave it always in forward.
Leave that one in forward for the minute. Yeah, we don't need to worry about that. The speed controller on and off is obviously really, really important. The fact that this is movable, you can put it in several places, is going to help us as well, because we might want it in a different place when we're doing the inside of the bowl.
Yeah.
So what we were on the outside of the bowl.
Okay.
All right. To start with, though,
Sounds good.
lay speed to 0, so that's anti-clockwise.
Yeah.
Visor on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get it over the ponytail.
Yeah. And the mic. Now,
Okay.
before we start turning, this is part seasoned timber. So it's not fully dry, but it's not fully wet. Okay, it's that halfway point. So it would have been an air dried board, but by the weight of it, I can feel there's a little bit of moisture in it.
That wasn't there a minute ago.
All right, just double check. Well, this is what we do. We sort of check again every time before that green button gets pressed. We just double check again. So part season, that means for us it's going to be beautiful to turn. It does mean you're going to get a little bit of movement though when it starts to dry. Just be happy with that. It's a natural piece of timber, it's going to move. If you don't want that, unfortunately, you've got to go for either kiln dried or fully air dried timber. But even then, sometimes you're going to get movement. It's just the material that we work with, you're going to get springing happen. Okay, but this is going to be a lovely salad or fruit bowl. It's got a bit of movement and it's going to be gorgeous.
Sounds good.
So, perfect. Right. Just grab me the bowl gouge a minute. So you're right-handed, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
So I think what we'll do first is we'll just skim backwards that way. So that's, if we swap places a second, all that's going to mean is your right hand on the back of the handle here, and your left hand up close onto the tool rest. So I'm making contact with the tool rest, and we're going to run the back bevel directly down that face. Okay, just to make turn this sort of several faceted shape into a round.
Okay.
And we're gently going to skim across that surface to start with. I'll do a cut and then you copy. Okay.
I'll try.
Okay. So lathe speed is 0. I've checked it again. I'm checking that tool rest, and just by habit you tend to check all the handles and things. You cannot do that enough. Lathe speed is 0. Turn the lathe on, and we'll very gently move the accelerator dial. And here I'm going to be turning it around about, well, I'd like to get to about 1,000 revs, but if it won't let me, it won't let me. What I mean by not let me is if it starts moving that lathe around, that's too fast for that setup that you have. So I'm going to stop about there. It's actually 700 revs.
How can you tell if the lathe's moving about a bit though? Because to me it doesn't look like it.
No, it's all right at the moment. No, but if I go much further.
Okay, yeah, I see that. Yeah.
So I don't know whether the mics can pick that up, but now we're starting to get vibration.
Okay.
Now the machine's not bedded down. We've got the levelers on there, so they're working. They're doing their job. But that's about it. So that's 692 at the moment. When we get completely round, that's a different story. We can go a bit faster.
Oh, because it's not round, so it's the centrifugal type forces. Okay,
exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's got more weight on one side than the other, so it's going all over the place.
Cool.
Look where that handle is. Fairly low.
Yeah.
Flute is facing on the clock face, so that the hollow, the flute, is facing around about 2 o'clock. I'm going that way. So about 2 o'clock. And then we're just going to gently make contact, pushing with the thumb.
Okay.
All right. If you're, once you've done a few bowls, then you could get away with starting on this face and just taking that corner right out. But we're just going to start nice and slowly.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
There we are.
Right, you've had your finger tucked behind, but I'm not going to do that, am I?
No, you can put it on the front. So always down on the tool rest first.
Like down
Handle
there.
needs to come around to you a little bit further.
Yeah.
A bit further. That's it. And then nice and gentle. Just prepare yourself for. That's it.
And I just go forward.
Just go forward. So that thumb there is just responsible for your downward pressure.
Yeah.
But it's just firm pressure. You don't have to. You don't have to press hard. I'm going to get out of the way because I'm talking and getting a mouthful of shaving.
Payback.
There we are. Now, stop the lathe a minute. Your first cut. So let's have a stop and see what we're doing at the moment. Things that we don't worry about a breakout. At this stage, it's just not important because all we're doing is taking that down to a round. So there we are. Nice. Can you feel that moisture in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely a little bit of moisture there. It's going to be really nice to work. So what we'll do now is keep going until this is completely round.
Okay.
So same cut as you've just done. Speed is the same, so that can stay where it is now. Wow, one thing there. So Steph went to turn the lathe speed down. Partly that's correct, but we've already established that lathe speed's right. It's not going to cause us any problems. So as long as you haven't gone away from the machine for any length of time and come back again, and you're absolutely sure that no one's tampered with it or anything like that, then you're safe just to hit that green button again because you haven't left the machine. If, like in this scenario, we've got lots of people using the workshop, then we're always going to go down to 0 and then restart. But you're good to go now. Now you've found that speed, you can just keep hitting that green and red button.
Now I've got to try and do it right again though.
Yep.
Right. There?
Yep. And again, it's good. What we want to do, look, so if you look at the silhouette, it's just going down a little bit, isn't it? We want to come a little bit straighter. So handle to you, a little bit more, that's it. And again. Keep going. Go on, keep going. Don't stop. That's it. Stop lathe one more time. What you can get sometimes, there's a little bit of it creeping in there, is what we call bevel bounce. Bevel bounce occurs with too much pressure on the bevel, or a too small a cut when you've got a timber that's like this one, that's got a lot of difference in its density. So we're going to take a slightly bigger cut. We've got, I don't know, probably about a 4mm cut to make, and we'll get rid of those flats now.
Okay.
It's cutting well.
Yeah?
It's cutting really well. Yeah.
I feel like my thumb's not quite strong enough.
No, you don't. Strength is not a thing when it comes to this.
Okay.
No.
Yeah?
Yeah. Pause a little bit. Just pause a little bit before you come. So all I mean is just, instead of pushing forward quite so hard, just let the timber come to you. That'll stop that bouncing.
Okay.
Okay, and stop the lathe again. I think there we might be able to get rid of some of that bark. It sounded a bit hollow. Yeah, it is. So rather than be too aggressive with the bark, what we'll do now is we're gonna, because we're round, so everything's nice and circular, we know we've got a good bowl blank. So we just move that tool rest around it. In fact, let's go to a slightly shorter one. Because we can. It means it can make life a little bit easier. There we are.
Are you going to do this bit?
No.
Okay.
You're doing it. So look, we're nice and close again. So we're going to work this face this time. And we're going to take several cuts going that way, because I don't want to peel this bark away in one. So we're going to cut in, cut in, cut in, cut in, cut in, all the way to the center. But I'll do the first couple of cuts again. So always check in, making sure we're good. So this time, if you can turn left-handed, this is better because it means you're out the way of the bowl that's spinning. So that means instead of your right hand, you're going to have your left hand in control. So that means left hand on the handle.
Okay.
And just a nice gentle push forward, down the solid timber. Down a solid timber each. So we're going to do probably, I would say, a dozen cuts on that. But look where it's going to. It's taking a lot of that bark away. By the time we get in here, you're going to have a lot of solid centre.
Okay.
All right. So if you can do left-handed, if you can't, then it's not a problem. Let's see if you can first, and then I'll change you.
How am I holding this?
Why don't you now bring that start box over?
Yeah.
Here we are.
Okay.
So that's it.
Like
exactly that? Yeah, exactly that. But now you're going to focus on this area.
Yeah.
So that's your cut. So about 6mm at a time, 1/4 inch at a time.
6. That's quite a lot.
Yeah, because
Not 6 inch, 6 mil.
it's because it's soft. So you're using bark. We're now away from the end grain. This is your side grain.
So I'm just trying to get down to where you've already been.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just taking some of that waste away. Let me get out of the way a minute.
Right. So there.
Let me just get in the way of the camera 2 seconds. Ben?
There.
Yes. Lift your handle a wee bit, just the tiniest amount. So remember what I said earlier, let the timber come to you.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just going to move in front of the camera just to get around the other side.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Is that enough?
Yep. Now you got to make another load of cuts as well.
We'll fast forward through this bit.
Yeah. It's alright. Steph's editing, everybody. We'll fast forward through this bit. Pause. When it starts to push you around a little bit, pause the tool.
Because I feel like I'm naturally rolling it round.
Which way? What, rolling the flute in?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the more you roll the flute in, the less of a cut you're going to get. But that's your protection. If you start rolling that flute up, right, then you're going to set those, set the wings facing up, right, and that's when you get grabs and stuff.
Okay.
So you're doing the right thing at the moment. Love it. Right, start the lathe. Now the reason that we wanted to do that is I didn't want the bark to fly off. If you try and skim the surface, what you're doing is releasing two areas that it's holding on by, and it could just all fly off in one hit. And if you do that, it's going to hit you in the face. So little cuts, taking little bits of bark off at once. What we can do now is we can take the tailstock out the way. So what I'll do, I'll just undo it all together, and I'm going to lift it off and put it somewhere that we're not going to fall over it. And now we can finish cleaning that surface up. So that means that we can get the tool rest up close. And the tool rest is again, it stops us from running into problems. The tool rest being close means it's less leverage on you and the tools. So we want to have it as close as possible all the time.
Now you've kind of set the tool rest for me the whole time so far.
Yeah.
What kind of... It looks slightly below centre to me, but...
All of this bowl is going to be tool rest below.
Okay.
Generally, we're only going to go high with the tool rest if we're using things like skew chisels.
Yeah.
And we're not going to on this project. That's for the next time.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no. So tool rest below and just below centre. We always tend to say 6 mil, so 1/4 inch below. Up to 6 mil, 1/4 inch below is absolutely fine.
Nothing more than that.
That's an average sort of thing. So there are instances where we'll have to go above and below, but that's a good guide to start with. What I'd like to do now, we're going to use these jaws.
Okay.
So these are the A+. They've got a good size of foot, and I think it'd be better for us to go for a dovetail foot on this one, being the first one. And the size of bowl that we've got here, I don't think it'd be good if we go for a recess. It just wouldn't give us a nice shape afterwards.
Okay.
So we'll go for a foot on that one. So we're going to clean this surface off, so we've got a good amount of solid timber here that we can then create the foot with. So I'll do a demo cut again.
Sounds good.
Do a
Sounds like
demo
a plan.
cut. I'll put that one there nice and safe. Tool rest is not touching. Speed is good. So what we're going to do, I'm going to do a drag cut this time. So where we were plunging before, this time, just going to skim the surface. Drag cut. Okay, but because I'm dragging, I don't have to put that force down. I can now go back to my right hand stance again, and I'm out of the way of the bowl blank.
Okay.
All right, so find centre, wiggle up and down over centre point, and then drag it out with the flute facing about 10 o'clock.
Now, how are you holding it? Because you just held it two different ways.
I did, yeah. So either way now works. So you can either go like this, which I tend to do sometimes, or we can hold on top again. Tend to do sometimes. And I don't know why.
I think I prefer the look of the first way.
Yeah, whichever you find a little bit happier and more natural.
Grip it onto
sort of thing. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Over centre point first, so just hover up and down with the handle just to get
like
you on
that?
centre point. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. And then just gently out towards you. Just going to twist it slightly. That's it. Now, when Steph got to that point, that was really important that you get to that last ½ inch, 12 mil, and you just slow your rate of feed down. Otherwise, it's easy just to pull the chisel right off the edge and miss half of it. It just falls off the edge.
Yeah.
So slow down a little bit, avoids making that little hook. Do that another couple of times, I reckon. Let's stop
That felt a bit weird though.
Starting to move around a little bit, but we're going to correct that the next one. So that's fine. Look, we've got all the solid timber there now. So our next bit will be creating the foot, and then that very same cut that you were just doing, we're going to use to pull through this corner and take away all the waste and the rough stuff before we do the finishing cuts.
Sounds good.
All right.
Perfect.
That's the next section. Okay, so you're going to measure the internal part of that chuck. We've already measured it. It's about 85 mil, isn't it? So half that diameter, and we're going to mark that onto the bottom of the bowl. That's going to be the foot that fits into that internal part of the chuck.
Okay, doesn't matter which point goes on.
No, both the same. So you don't have to touch on centre point, but where you are touching, where you're marking, must be on the tool rest. It's like any other tool. If it's not on the tool rest, it will grab. So down on the tool rest, have the lathe running nice and slowly.
So I've got it down to 0 at the moment.
Down to 0, that's it. Turn the machine on. So let's go, I don't know, 200, 250 revs.
About that.
Yeah, that's it. And just mark that diameter. So like I say, the outer one touching. There we are. It's a marking tool like anything else.
Is that enough?
That's it. So you've got that mark. So now we want to go with the parting tool. So let's go.
Sorry.
Okay. Let's go with the depth of this, which is about 3/8 of an inch. So if you do the 3/8 or 10 mil, whichever comes closest.
Centimetre.
That's the centimetre. And yeah, just cut down to that. So now we need a working speed. So I would go up to around about 1200 revs. We'll just see what how the lathe's reacting to that. It's doing all right, isn't it? Yeah, we're good. So there we are. So we get that wobble on. So just back it off a little bit. That's it, and we'll work with that. Now, everybody, you've got to remember that you're going to be working on different lathes. They may not be as big and as chunky and as sturdy as this one, or they may be bigger than this one, you know. So work within the limits of that machine. If you've got a benchtop machine and you've got a big bowl blank like this on it, you won't be able to go this fast. You'll have to slow things down a little bit. We could go faster if we bolted the machine down, for instance, but at the moment it's just left unbolted so we can move it around. So we are experiencing a little bit of movement there. So we're working within the limits of the lathe. Down to about 3/8 of a depth cut.
How am I presenting this?
So that one's straight on. So if you look at the tool, it has a long face and a narrow thickness to it. Okay. So we present it with a narrow upright and to the left of the line. We want to leave the diameter you've just marked.
So I don't keep it like flat.
No, yeah, absolutely. Keep it straight. So we don't need any lowering of the handle. It just goes straight in this one.
Do you have to push forward quite a lot?
You do, yeah. Downward pressure from the thumb. That'll do. Yeah, that's fine. So now we're going to go back with the bowl gouge again. We're going to drag the waste material out so we can expose the foot, and then we can start thinking about tidying things up a little bit. So can you remember?
Yep.
Flute facing towards you around about that 10 o'clock position.
About that?
That's it, yeah. So now you're going to drag back. So we call this the pull cut. Look at that, nice. Perfect, and same again. So no, you don't have to worry about the finish that this is leaving. These are all just roughing cuts. We're taking away the bulk of the material. Cut's too big at the moment, and just turn that flute back over. So same cut that you've just done. So back off a little bit, that's it. And pull toward you. So yeah, these are roughing cuts. We're getting the rough shape. We're going to tidy everything up separately in a moment. You can see there's a little bit of a recess in there, so put the nose of the gouge into that recess. Just bring that hand around a little bit, push down. There, now gently back to you. That's it. Right, now stop the lathe and adjust the tool rest. We can put the tool rest now at an angle. We want to start pulling through that corner to get the shape of the bowl formed. Remember, these are roughing cuts. These don't have to be immaculate. We've got a bit of tearing going on around here. We've got turning marks. That will disappear in a minute when we start to tidy up. So now start thinking about the shape of your bowl. At the moment, you've got square bottom, you've got square sides.
Okay.
I'm guessing, but tell me if I'm wrong, that you want a nice rounded side. Yeah, so we're getting a nice curve coming around.
Yeah.
So we're going to pull through that corner.
Okay.
Okay, so the same cut you've just done, but now you're cutting in a diagonal as opposed to straight across.
So you don't start at the middle, you start...
No, so turn the lathe on, I'll put a pencil mark where we should be starting. So you're going to start by pulling through the corner about there,
Okay.
and there, and there, and so on. We're not going to pull from here,
Yep.
because we want that at that sort of thickness.
To start the first line.
Exactly. Pull
Okay.
through at an angle.
Is that angled enough for the tool rest?
It is. What you might find, because you've got a lot of tool rests here unused, you might want to just pull the tool rest back that way.
Okay.
All right, remember the asset lathe goes on.
Is that enough?
Yeah. Again, we'll be adjusting it all the way through the process, so... Now, at this stage, don't move the handle. You're putting it on a straight diagonal. That's all you're doing. That's it. And the same again. Now, as you do that, I'm just going to explain what I meant by don't move the handle. So,
Okay, good.
yeah, start again. So what you need to do is that whole tool moves as one,
Yeah.
just to give you a nice straight diagonal cut. Perfect. Otherwise, if you keep moving the handle round, you're not really changing the curve,
Okay.
but you're bringing the bottom edge more into play, so you're starting to create too big a cut before you get to the end of the cut. So we want to keep the cut the same all the way through it.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay, so what I
yeah.
would do now, you're getting a slope started here, but I think you need to come through more of an angle now. So again, start about here,
Yeah.
then there again, and take the angle even
change the
further
tool
out.
rest?
I wouldn't. You're okay at the moment.
Yeah?
Yeah. All right, you're starting to judder a little bit there. In that case, yes, move the tool rest. So bring them further around. If anybody's getting catches at this stage when you're roughing the bowl out, all that's going to mean is that your flute is presented too far up. So you want to turn the flute over, and also don't bring them round too far. If you think about it, if you bring the handle all the way around here, you've got a big area of that bottom edge in contact. If you keep the handle this way, you've only got a small area in contact. So control the amount of cut you're getting and the aggressiveness of cut by just putting that flute further over toward that sort of 9, 10 o'clock area. That will really help. So same thing again now, we want a bit more of this corner out the way, so we're going to start there, push through that corner at more of an aggressive angle, and then there, do the same.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry.
Start at the same place again, down on the tool rest, there you go. So we're going to do one thing now, pull through that corner,
Yeah.
pull. There we are. So you see the angles change. The only reason that changed it for you is because I was putting a bit more downward pressure on, which meant the tool wasn't being forced back this way by the timber.
Okay.
Okay, so you were in control of the curve or the direction of cut.
So I should be doing that.
Rather,
Putting
yeah,
more
rather
pressure
than
down on the tool.
exactly, rather than being bullied by what the blank is saying.
Yeah.
All right.
Which takes longer.
Yes.
Okay.
Now you can start following a little bit with the handle now, because now we're starting to get a curve. We haven't got a flat we're trying to take the corner off of anymore. So now we can start bringing that corner around. As you do that, start adjusting with the tool rest. So, yeah, so when you start, you're going to start here with a fairly light cut, because we don't want to take too much off of that area. But increase the depth of the cut as you come around, and the handle can now start following around as well.
Okay.
All right, but not too fast. We're going to do that
Does the
nice
tool
and
rest
slowly.
need to change position?
Yeah, just out a little bit and around a better.
Like that.
There you go, better angle. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So, yeah?
Yep. Nice and gentle to start with there.
Yeah.
So pull. Perfect.
It feels uncomfortable on the tool rest though.
So yeah, but the tool rest now needs to follow around again.
Okay.
So if you stop the lathe, adjust the tool rest, and I would get that tool rest more at that sort of angle now.
Okay.
Because our next job is a finishing cut. We're almost there. It's that quick. Let me move the tool rest. Sorry, the chuck for you a minute.
Thank you.
So we're going to move away from what we call a pull cut. We're going to go into the push cut. The difference, the dynamics are different. So instead of dragging with the left hand,
Yep.
dragging this cutting edge around, what we're going to do is push this back of the bevel. So that means the handle is going to start all the way over here now. And as you push up the line of the chisel, that forces the chisel forward. It's sliding on its bevel.
Okay.
As it does that, you need to bring the hand around to keep the cutting edge in contact with the timber. It's a slightly more practiced cut, and if you start getting a lot of bounce, that's what we refer to that as bevel bounce. That just comes from too much pressure on the bevel. So your left and right hand are constantly sort of taking pressure away and adding pressure.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to guide you through that.
Thank you.
All right. So the flute direction is the same. So it's around about 10 o'clock. Now, where am I gone?
Where's my 10 o'clock?
Let me make say.
Where's my 10 o'clock?
So you're 10 at this flute. So
Right.
for everybody else
Okay.
watching, that's 12 o'clock.
Yep.
There's a 10 o'clock. Okay.
Yep.
Bevel needs to be rubbing, so handle right the way around. And making sure I'm not getting in the way of the camera a minute. Now, with your right hand, push up the length of the tool. But immediately it starts to move forward, look.
Yeah.
So your left hand is your brake and your control. Stops it from moving too quickly.
Okay.
As you start cutting, you're looking at the depth of cut.
Looks deep.
Yeah, and adjusting the handle to suit. So keep that depth of cut all the way. Keep it coming around now. Feel that bevel bounce started, yeah? So that's a little bit more control with your left hand and backing off with the right. Handle round, keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving. More. All right, so you were dragging right at the end there with your left hand. The only reason I know that because it pulled away. So the minute you drag, you release the bevel. You see. So pop the bevel back on the timber again. Handle round, nice and gently. Handle round. Keep it going. Keep it going. Pushing from the right hand. Pull. There we are. Right, stop the lathe. Have a look at that. What I want you to look at is how different the finish is.
Yeah.
Remember all those tears we had from the pull cut?
Yep.
They start to disappear when we create this push cut. And again, we can see what lovely timber we've got there. We're going to take a slightly finer cut now just to get rid of that tearing as well.
Okay.
We're almost there. Let me just stray away and sharpen the tool a minute.
Okay.
Okay, so you can take a fine cut now. So a couple of mil, 3 mil at max, I suppose. We just want to sort of refine the shape now. There's a couple of lumps, one there, one there. I'd like it just to do a nice little finishing cut. All right, I'll help again if I think you need it. But
I'll give it a go.
Give it a go.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, just turn the lathe off again. Just before you do, just adjust that torus one more time. Get him in nice and close again. Just because your starting cut is quite a long way over that tool rest. So just
Same angle?
just bring this around a little bit. That's it. A bit closer. Remember, as close as you can get without touching is always fine. Good. Yeah, good.
Okay. I did that before and it was too close.
It's clear, yeah. Now we're round, it's easier.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
away you go. 2 to 3 mil.
Okay. I will try. There?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Keep that going. If you can keep that going all the way.
Nope.
Actually, that's pretty good.
Yeah?
Do that again. Just watch the handle. It's creeping up. Keep that handle down.
Okay, yeah.
All right, keep bevel rubbing. Now we'll handle round to you.
Okay.
Bit further. Keep going. That's it. Keep that handle moving now, flowing around. Keep round. Keep going. Don't let the handle stop. Keep going. keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Slow it up a little bit.
Okay.
So around with the handle, round, no, faster, faster, faster. I'm just gonna, hang on, keep going. Just gonna stop that bevel bounce by just easing some of the pressure, that's it. Now keep that handle flowing around. Round, 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 round. Quicker, 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 quicker. That's better. Perfect.
It's weird because you're saying to keep the bevel in contact, but to me, it looks like it is in contact, but you're telling me to move the handle around.
The handle. Because what I can see, because you've got a curve there, if you don't move the handle far enough, if you think about it, that chiseled tip starts to run over midair. So you've got to keep that handle coming around and pivot in the tip.
Do you don't want it to be perfectly flat then?
No, perfectly flat you won't cut a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, no
That's
problem.
what I was trying to do.
Yeah. The bevel will be rubbing, but it's the start of the cut which is an important bit. You've got to bring the hand around and create the cut. Once you've got the cut, then the bevel's rubbing behind that cut.
Okay.
You've already then put a certain amount of timber in front of it, you see.
And you just want to maintain that level of timber.
Exactly that.
Okay.
What's the curve look like now? To me.
There's a little bit of a lump there.
Is there a little bit of a lump? Let me just come around again.
There and there. It's better than it was.
The way I'm going to describe this now, squint your eyes a little bit and have a look at the curve. If the curve is constant, that's fine. Don't be drawn by gouge marks. So if there's a little line here, we can sand that out. It's not a problem.
It looks a little bit lumpy there.
A little bit lumpy. So again, just go into start the bevel rubbing in the low spot.
Yeah.
Push through the low spot so you actually take the peak off that lump.
Okay. So don't start there, start here.
No, just start now rectifying those little lumps and bumps.
Okay. Yeah, it looks better.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
What do you think?
Yeah, that's good. That's fine. Now, maybe not on your first bowl, but on your second bowl, we can look at things like shear cuts. What I'd like to do first is get this one done, and we can start thinking about shear cuts and practicing, because I know you've got another piece of timber over there.
I have.
One other thing before we start, I had to sharpen this gouge, and you're all going to be faced with this, certain timbers. This is sycamore. Sycamore is prone to having silica in it, and it's a natural growth or a mineral that it picks up. That creates all these wonderful patterns, but there's a big lump of it in here. And the trouble with silica is it creates little like pebbles, little stones, almost like flint, that takes the edge off the tool straight away. So that now would have to be sharpened again, because that's in there. But it's a lovely part. It's a lovely, it looks nice, doesn't it? So, all we need to do now is start thinking about, all right, let's get in this defined a little bit more. So we're going to have a slight hollow in the base, and we want a proper dovetail on that foot there.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll start with a smaller bowl gouge on the base here, and we're going to do a push cut again towards centre.
Okay.
All right. So if you adjust the tool rest, pop that one back, grab the 3/8 bowl gouge to the right here. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and adjust the tool rest flat across that base.
Okay.
That's it. Just drop them down another couple of mil. We need to be able to get to centre point. If you think about this gouge here, this is a 10 mil 3/8 bowl gouge. It needs to be able to touch centre point there. And if the tool rest is too high, you physically can't get down to that centre point.
Okay.
So what we'll do now is we're going to run the bevel along the surface. As you can see, it's slightly radiused here, so it's a convex. So we're going to push towards centre to give you a very slight dish in there, a very slight concave.
Okay.
All right. It just means then it'll sit on the table nicely.
Yeah.
So look at your back line of your bevel. At the moment, it's going right in. So you want it a lot flatter.
Right, okay.
About there. Not a lot of pressure. You can always come back and take a second cut. Just slow down a little bit. Use your left hand as a brake. That's it. Same thing again. Finer cut this time. That's it. Lift the handle a little. Stop and have a look.
So how can you lift it at the end a little?
Just to get to centre point. You were going to ride over the centre point if you didn't drop that.
Oh,
cutting
okay,
edge.
yeah.
That's it.
Looks flat.
That's a little dovetail now, don't we?
Yes.
So go with a standard skew. So the black-handled skew.
Oh.
That's the one? Yep. And I just want you, I'll show you.
Okay.
I just want you just to go in at a very slight angle. So you're going to push the timber down.
Yep.
Okay. Just creating a very slight dovetail.
Okay.
No specific angles.
Like that?
Yeah. Now nice and gentle now as you get to the end, and then feather the curve in. So bring the handle round now. There we are. Just to tidy things up. That look good?
Looks good. I mean, it looks good to me. It's quite angled.
I like that.
Is that all right?
Yeah, no, that's good. It's good.
Okay.
Fantastic. I think we're ready to sand. Okay, so we're going to start sanding now. You've got everything ready. Everything's nice and tidy. So tool rust needs to come out of the way. We need to make sure we're not got any pinch points for our hands. We prepped up our abrasives. So I've got hand abrasives, just regular abrasive here. 100, 150, 240, 400. That's our hand abrasive, okay? But we're also going to use a rotary sander.
Yeah.
Okay. And we got a couple of grades there. I've got 100, I've got a 180, we've got 240.
120.
And what's that, 120 as well. So we've got a couple of coarse ones, and we're just going to alternate. So the coarse ones on the rotary sanders, then the 100 grit on the hand sanding, and that crisscrosses your abrasive.
Okay.
Okay, it helps your sanding, and it certainly gets rid of those horrible rotary scratches that you can often see sometimes. So we're going to go through the grades.
Yep.
Okay, we'll have dust extraction on. You could, of course, use a power sander. My preference, if I'm not batch turning bowls, would be to do this method here. But if you want a quick result, then power sander. So that's a sort of version of this, but in a powered drill.
Oh, what? So it's like
speeds that
double
really quick.
speed.
Yeah, exactly. This rotates as that bowl turns, so it's turning at the same speed as the bowl. A power sander turns faster than the bowl itself, so that would be the only difference.
So am I starting hand or this?
So I would start with the rotary,
What speed?
and then fairly quickly go on to the 100 at around about 900 revs on this bowl. So I think it's almost where you had it before.
It's 963.
Yeah, that's fine. If you're finding you're getting a lot of heat, and you shouldn't be, but if you're finding you're getting a lot of heat, turn the speed down.
Okay.
The reason I say you shouldn't be, you only get heat if you stay in one place for too long.
Yep.
All right, you need to be moving around that bowl.
So does it matter where you start, like an edge?
It doesn't matter where you start. I'm right-handed, so I naturally grab the thing up with my right hand, hold and brace the back, touch on, and let it do its thing. But to get it up to detail, then you could do the same on that side. All right, but have the head angled down from the handle, because then you're dragging away from yourself. If you do that, it wants to keep pushing down.
Okay, yeah,
all right?
That makes sense. And does it, are you better going on the edge? So at the edge of the pad or the middle?
Edge. Edge all the time. So we're going to finish doing all this one, aren't we?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the way we're going to do this, there's the oil.
Yeah.
Apply it all over. And we want it to saturation, so it needs to soak in. So if you start applying, we're going to sand it as well in a minute. So we're going to go with a 600 grit and sand it in to help start that sort of drying process. But in reality, oil takes a long time to dry. We're going to be set by probably this time tomorrow, but we'll be dry within about an hour. So there is a difference. It'll be still soft until it's fully cured or fully set.
So do the bottom as well.
Do the bottom, do everything, yeah. Lovely. Make sure it's good coating all over.
That's all right. Is that done?
Yep. What you can see already is the end grain is soaking it up a lot more than the side grain is, you see.
Yeah.
So you see here especially.
Yeah.
Put a little bit more on there, it soaked it in. That's a deader area, that one. Okay. Just give it a few seconds. Grab yourself a bit of tissue as well.
Yep.
Right, just dab off the really wet stuff.
Just wipe it or dab?
Just wipe it off, yeah. It's just spreading it around and getting it nice and even. That's it.
Is that right?
Now, grab yourself a bit of 600 grit abrasive.
Ooh.
So the red bottom. Bit of 600 grit. Lathe speed to 0 before we do anything, and then start the machine. Right now, just very gently turn that machine on, that's it, until you get the lowest speed, which is about 150 for this belt setting, and start sanding. Again, you're going to start pulling up some of the oil. You're going to create a mixture of oil and very fine dust that's going to start filling the pores, so you get a real silky feel after it. It's almost like a grain filler that we're creating now. But this is helping to start that process of drying with the oil. It's raising the grain, so a little bit like wet sanding would do, raising the grain and then taking it off with the abrasive. Now in theory, you'd want to do what you're doing for a couple of minutes and then leave that to dry and give it another buff. We're not going to do that, we're going to turn it straight over. But you could always rebuff it off the lathe, just with a bit of elbow grease and a bit of tissue or rag, or a buffing wheel, those sorts of things as well. Yeah. But with a little bit of a buff, that'll start to shine up. How are we looking? It's looking nice, isn't it?
It's nice.
Okay, start the lathe, grab your tissue, turn it up a little bit more.
Even the tissue that I've got?
Do a dry piece. Yeah, dry piece. Turn it up a little bit more. Keep going. Keep going. A bit more. That's it. The reason I'm sort of hesitating about going too fast is a very dense sponge, and if you turn the lathe right up, all that oil that's soaked in is going to start coming back out again, and it'll start hitting you. So what I'd like to do now is just buff. So just nice and firming with the tissue against the bowl.
Firm.
Yeah. You'll start to see a sheen build.
Do you have to keep moving the paper like you do the abrasive?
Yeah.
Okay.
There we are, that should do it. We will have another opportunity when we turn the bowl over and done the inside. We'll have another opportunity just to, do that same buffing process on the outside again. What a wonderful bit of timber that is! Fantastic.
Love it.
Grand. Right, we're going to take it off the lathe and undo those screws. That's it. That's it. So if you can do it by hand, if not, we'll get you a spanner.
Yep, spanner.
Yeah, spanner. There we are. So that's going to go on there. There we are, all yours.
Thank you.
And nice and softly on the lathe. Grab your driver. Good, good, tight fit. I would now change that tool rest. Let's go with the bigger one. Right up against the face.
Bit higher.
Bit higher, yeah. Now, without turning the lathe on, if you spin the lathe, just with your hand, now you can see centre point now, look. So it gives you an idea where that tool rest should be. You want to be about 1/4 inch, 6 mil below centre.
So tiny bit lower.
Yeah.
What about that way?
No, I think you're probably a bit higher.
Ooh.
That's it. Love it. We're good and even there, lovely. Right, make sure all your levers are tight.
Yep.
Okay, lathe speed to 0.
It is.
Okay, so we're gonna take the centre out. First of all, though, we want to just clean this surface off. It's a bit rubbish, and we want to know where we are. So if you grab the let's go with 1/2 inch gouge to start with. 1/2 inch gouge to start with. Lathe speed to 0. Turn the lathe on. Then creep the speed up to, we're going to go 900 a minute, aren't we? That's it. So what you're going to focus on now, if you're looking at that face, you look at the gouge.
Yep.
The back of the gouge, that bevel, we'll run that parallel with the face.
Yeah.
Ish. Parallel it.
Ish.
Yeah. And we're going to start on the outside of the bowl there, as opposed to here. Because here, bounce all over the place.
Okay.
So you're going to start here, and you're going to push into centre.
Okay.
So your guidance, or your brake is your left thumb.
Mm.
All right.
It's a lot of pressure on my left thumb.
Don't take too big a cut though. It won't be no more than about 6 mil, 1/4 inch.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Too much?
Yeah, that's good. So I'm just going to give you a hand. So again. Raise the handle a little bit more. That's lovely. Start again. You don't need to go all the way to the centre this time though, only because that area there, till about that point, has still got some unevenness on it.
Okay.
So another, probably 3 mil this time, don't have to go half as deep. Drop your handle. Lovely. Right, let's have a look. Stop the lathe. Let's see what we got there.
Got a little nubbin in the middle.
Yeah, that's fine. So we still got a little bit more of that wax. So we'll do one more of those cuts. Don't need to go all the way to centre.
Okay.
So we've got a good clean edge.
Lovely. What's next?
And hollow. Sorry, that camera keeps quitting. Or is it the telly?
The telly.
Okay, so we're gonna. Right.
That's fine.
That's fine, as long as it's just TV and.
Yeah, it's still recording this side.
Put me off.
Cool. So, next.
Okay, so drop the tool rest just a little bit. We're going to change gouges as well. We're just going to swap out. We're going to slightly smaller. Up a little bit.
Ooh.
Bit more. Bit more. Everybody back to where we started. Bit more. That's it. Down. That's it. So what we're there. Let's just give everybody an idea. So we are about 3/8, 10 mil below centre there. So we're going with a 3/8 bowl gouge next.
Okay.
The reason I've done that, I just want to be able to get the centre, but I want a certain drop to the handle to create this cut.
That a bit.
Nice and close, yeah.
Okay.
So turn the lathe on.
Same speed again?
is the same, yeah. So we're going to start our cuts now. Get the idea?
So working from the first line or the line here
We're going to
first?
start here.
Yeah.
on this first one, and then at each cut as we go out separately. We're going to end up. Well, how thick do you want it? About there, or thinner?
However thick you recommend for this bowl.
Let's give you a nice wide rim. And we'll do
And we
a
don't wanna
slight
go through
undercut. Oh no, you won't go through it. That'll be fine. So right, you're going to start now with your handle right the way out here, and
Yeah.
flute facing into the centre of the bowl. So facing 2 o'clock now with that flute. That's
way.
it. Handle right the way over. Right the way over.
Right.
So that bevel that I told you about, where we were facing off, that's now pointing right the way down and into the bowl.
So I'm bringing the handle like that
You
towards
are,
me.
yeah, you're
Right.
scooping out.
I've seen you do this one.
Thumb is your brake.
Ooh, it's a lot of pressure on the thumb.
Yeah.
Okay,
Not
right.
too, I mean, if you are adding
So-
a lot of pressure, your knuckles going white is too much. And then sweep round. Drop your handle down.
Ooh,
That's
there.
it. Let's save again.
So there.
Yep. Raise your handle. Good. Now at the beginning of the cut, just pause for a little bit to get that little shoulder form. That then gives you something to push against. That's it. Beautiful.
Ooh. So. Ooh, sorry. Well, that's on more at 3 o'clock.
There you go. Do it again. So we're going to go about half the depth of the bowl. If we go too deep, we don't know where the bottom of the bowl is and letting them go through it. So we need to go about half the depth.
That feels weird.
Do it, same again. Do it.
Got no more lines. Just keep going.
Keep going. There we are.
Thanks.
More lines.
So you keep, when I get closer towards the middle, you keep twisting it for me.
'Cause
Is it because I'm
naturally-
naturally twisting it the wrong way?
The body does it. Yeah.
Okay.
Most people find that happens. So it's quite a. You have to be aware of that flute all the time.
So about there, so that's
Yeah.
where I want to start.
So just pause the cut at the beginning. So pause,
Yeah.
then push. Drop your handle a little. So now, these next few cuts, if you stop them at that depth, so don't go right to the middle, basically, I'll tell you when to stop.
Ooh.
So use that thumb of your left hand as your brake.
Yeah.
Now push. And stop. That's it. Do the same again. Each cut now is going to go to the same depth. tilt your flute back up a little bit. That's better. Stop. Alright, so every cut you stop just before the last.
Okay.
Sit now, push. Sharpen the gouge. Just stop the lathe. Have a check and see what that was. Is it a bit of silica?
I'm not sure.
Something would have come out of that.
It's a little bit raggedy there.
Yeah, we're blunt as now. So that's that silica probably just tainted that edge. Pause at the beginning. Bevel then can lock into it, and then you're free to push.
Okay.
All right.
Am I pushing too early then? Is that why it's blunting?
No, you're pushing because you're pushing too early. It's skipping away at the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, you want that nice solid start. That's
Okay.
more important when you get to the last couple of cuts because you don't want to tear out the outside edge.
Okay.
Don't let that
Do
worry
I
you
need
because
to
that
do?
make you nervous.
Yeah. Do I need to do that bit there again?
Yeah, take that down to there.
Okay. Yeah.
That's it. Grand, so the pause. Let's just have a look, just 2 seconds. Yeah, carry on. Looking
okay?
good. It's pretty constant at the moment. Fairly even there. So the next one, we're going to do the same thing. We're not going to come out here though. We're going to start on that face, so with the bevel rubbing. I'm going to guide you on this one.
Thank you.
I'm going to go down a little bit steeper. So bevel rubbing. That's what we wanted. So we're a little bit thinner as the further down we go.
Okay.
So we've got a wider rim, and now we're going to cut across the bottom. So we're going to go with the 1/2 inch gouge now, the little slightly
The little
big
one. It's massive.
And we'll go straight across the bottom. So handle to you. Handle over there.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Sorry.
it. So the bevel is now facing directly across. We're going to start taking some of that away from there to centre.
Okay.
Okay, same cut as you've just been doing. And bevel rubbing. Sorry, say that again.
Can I hold the chisel differently? 'Cause I
How
feel
differently
like
do you want to hold it?
well, because it's quite a lot of effort for my thumb. I don't have the strongest thumb,
Well, you don't need to have that much pressure on.
but I feel like if I don't, it's bouncing.
Okay, do that again then. Don't put your left hand on there. So, right, there we are. So, all I want you to do is push with your right hand. Hand around. Hand around. Hand around. Hand around. Slow. Less pressure. Stop pushing. Nice and gentle. Right, stop the lathe. Let's have a look and see where
Do
we
you think I
are.
was pushing too hard with my right hand?
You were pushing a little bit too hard that second before last time.
Yeah.
Oh, it's lovely. So nice, that bit of timber. Right, we're going to have another resharpen and we're going to do a final cut of the bottom.
Okay.
The reason we done that is just demonstrate really that you don't need a huge amount of downforce, but you just need to be firm.
Okay.
That's all. Firm but not bullying.
Right. Okay.
If you feel now, so what we've got a little bit of a lump there and then
Yeah.
a hollow there. So we're going to bring the handle right the way around, then keep it in position. So we're going to start rubbing this area. Yeah. And as I'll demonstrate, rubbing that area. As you come to that point, we want to keep that curve.
Yeah.
And then about there, we're just going to keep the handle running flat.
Okay.
All right. So it's not constant movement.
Yeah.
We're controlling the curve, if you remember.
Okay.
I will help guide.
Thanks. So,
So rub there. Let the cut pick up.
feels good to be.
I think you're there. That
Yeah.
curve looks good.
Yeah, feels nice.
We got it's thin enough now as well.
Yep.
Oh, what a lovely bit of timber that is. Can't get over that bit of timber. Okay, so sanding. So remember what we've got to do first when we're sanding, or before we sand.
Turn the low speed down.
And
Take the tool rest out.
tool rest out of the way.
Get there eventually.
Right. Lay speed. And we can stick with this lay speed, but you monitor it. If you think it's getting too hot,
Okay.
turn it down. The reason I say that is end grain will split if it gets too warm. So use your fingers as a thermometer when you're using a hand abrasive. All right. If it's getting uncomfortable for your fingers, it's going to start damaging the bowl.
Okay.
All right. You can't feel the heat when you're using one of the rotary
No.
sanders, so just be aware of moving that abrasive around constantly.
Okay. I was going to turn the extractor on.
Yes.
The first time.
It's much lighter than I was expecting it to be. from the bit of timber I carried in earlier.
Wonderful bit of timber. That's so pretty. That bit of timber.
It's lovely.
Well done.
Thank you very much. Not too bad.
There we are. Steph's first bowl. How did you find it? Easy?
I've been watching you do woodturning for years, so you make it look effortless. My arms feel a bit tired, I'm not going to lie. Not as easy as I was expecting, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, hopefully I didn't make too many mistakes.
No, not at all. I mean, this is, as a beginner's project, those were the steps we go through all the time. And there was the same things we'll tell every single beginner. It's all about the flute direction. So 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, depending on which direction you're travelling. Largely on the outside of the bowl, the flute's facing 10, and on the inside it's facing 2, most of the time. And you change that a little bit, you tweak it here and there. But I think it's worked well. The bit of timber is stunning.
It is, I love it.
Probably not the easiest to turn. We had a bit of silica in there. It was quite soft in places, but honestly, it's a really pretty bowl. So
I like
well
a challenge.
Done. Yeah, well done. The next time it's all about spindle work, so we'll have a look at that one as well.
Okay, yeah, I'm keen. I am keen.
Well, there we are, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget what I say every single week. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, share us around, and subscribe. So, yeah, thank you very much. Well done, Steph.
Thank you very
First
much.
bowl.
See you again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.